Welcome to Threads of Truth, the podcast where real-life mysteries meet internet speculation. Today, we ask, who was the Somerton Man, and why did he die alone on an Australian beach with a cryptic code in his pocket?
Okay, so picture this. It's December 1st, 1948. Early morning on Somerton Beach near Adelaide in South Australia. It's kind of crisp, maybe a little unsettling. The sun's just coming up and people are out, doing their morning walk thing, and they find him, a man, just lying there, reclined against the seawall. Almost looks like he's asleep. But the details, that's where it gets strange right from the start. He's dressed impeccably, pressed suit, polished shoes, everything neat, yet absolutely no identification, nothing. And weirder still, every single label on his clothes has been carefully, meticulously cut off, like someone deliberately erased who he was. But here's the part that really sends a chill down your spine. Tucked away, deep in a little fob pocket in his trousers, almost like a secret spot, they find this tiny, tightly rolled slip of paper. And on it, just two words in elegant script. Tamám Shud.
Which, as we later found out, is Persian. It means the end, or finished. Exactly. So it immediately sets this chilling tone, doesn't it? It feels less like an accident and more like a message, a deliberate puzzle.
Absolutely. From the very beginning, the scene just screamed careful orchestration.
Yeah.
The complete lack of ID, the almost surgical removal of the tags. It wasn't random. It strongly suggested something way more complex than, a simple natural death or an unfortunate accident.
It felt like someone wanted him found, but absolutely not identified.
Precisely. That deliberate staging right from the get-go, it just set the stage for this massive enigma, something that defied any easy answers. It was like a puzzle laid out for everyone to see, but designed to confuse.
And that's really the core mystery we're diving into today. We've got a man with no clear cause of death, despite signs something was very wrong. We've got a hidden book turning up later with this bizarre, uncracked code inside. There's a woman, a nurse, living nearby, whose connection seems undeniable but deeply evasive. And this whole thing sparked a 70-year investigation. An investigation that's only recently seen some incredible new light thanks to modern science, particularly forensic genealogy. It's a story that pulls in threads of, well, maybe Cold War spies, maybe a heartbreaking personal tragedy, and definitely the power of internet sleuths. So let's really go back to that moment, December 1st, 1948. It's 6:30 a.m. A local businessman, John Lyons, is out for his morning walk, and he finds him. Slumped against the seawall, head leaning back, feet crossed. There's even an unlit cigarette resting on his collar, which is odd.
A very unusual posture. Almost too peaceful, maybe, for someone found dead in public.
Right. And what makes it even more haunting is that people had seen someone matching his description the night before. Around 7 p.m. on November 30th, a couple, the Proctors, saw a man in that exact spot. They even remembered him sort of extending his right arm fully, then letting it drop limply.
Which they just dismissed at the time, right? Thought he might be drunk or maybe trying to swat a fly, light a cigarette clumsily.
Yeah, exactly. But looking back, that detail feels significant, chilling even. And there's this stark contrast, isn't there? This meticulously dressed man, nice suit, crisp shirt, polished shoes, meeting this anonymous, undignified end.
It really wasn't just a discovery. It felt like, as you said, a carefully staged tableau. Something designed to make you ask questions immediately. Who was he? How did he die?
Let's talk about what he looked like, what he had on him, besides the suit and polished shoes.
Okay, so under the suit jacket, which interestingly was noted for having American tailoring, hinting maybe at travel or where it came from, he had a white shirt, a very distinctive red, white, and blue tie, brown trousers, socks, and a brown knitted pullover. Everything neat, clean. But the critical detail, the one that really stands out, is that systematic removal of all the labels from his clothing, every single one, snipped or torn off.
No hat, no wallet, just empty pockets.
Almost. Just really mundane things. A half-smoked cigarette, which becomes important later, an unused train ticket to Henley Beach, a bus ticket for North Glenelg, a couple of combs, some chewing gum, matches. Absolutely nothing personal. No name, no address, no keys, nothing to hint at who this person was.
So why go to such lengths to erase his identity? That's the immediate question.
Exactly. It's just a really active, deliberate effort to make him untraceable. And that could point in several directions, couldn't it? Foul play is obvious, the killer trying to hide the victim's identity. Espionage is another strong contender, where anonymity is absolutely crucial. Or maybe even a very meticulously planned suicide where the person specifically wanted to die unknown.
And then there's the Tamám Shud slip again, hidden away in that fob pocket.
Yep.
Not like left out, obviously.
Right, found concealed, which reinforces that secretive nature. It's this tiny, elegant script, the end, or finished. It feels like a deliberate clue, but one that's meant to be cryptic, maybe mislead, or perhaps send a message only certain people would understand.
And the body itself, it had its own story to tell, didn't it? But it was just as confusing. The initial autopsy found no obvious injuries.
Nothing external, no. No signs of violence, no wounds. Looked peaceful on the outside.
But inside, completely different picture. The report mentioned the small blood vessels in his brain were congested, really visible. His throat, the pharynx was congested. His gullet showed whitening, ulceration.
There was liver damage, cellular destruction, acute gastritis hemorrhage. Basically, widespread congestion in the liver, spleen, and brain. It screamed poisoning.
His last meal was identified as a pasty, eaten maybe 3 or 4 hours before death. So you have all these undeniable signs of severe internal distress. His body was clearly ravaged by something.
Something potent.
Yet, and this is the truly baffling part, the toxicology tests came back negative. The deputy government analyst, a Mr. R.J. Cowan, couldn't detect any known poisons. How is that possible?
And that's where the case takes a really sinister turn, doesn't it? The repeated failure to find common poisons, despite such clear internal evidence of damage, it strongly suggested a very specialized method. This wasn't just, we couldn't find anything. It was more like, whatever was used, it was designed not to be found.
So something rare, or something that breaks down quickly.
Potentially both. Much later, in 1994, Chief Justice John Harbour Phillips reviewed the autopsy findings. Based on the specific organ damage, particularly the engorgement, he suggested it was, quote, little doubt it was digitalis.
Digitalis. That's from foxglove, right? A heart drug, but highly toxic.
Exactly. A powerful cardiac glycoside. Causes severe internal distress, heart failure, death. And crucially, its breakdown products are notoriously hard to detect post-mortem, especially with 1948 technology. It perfectly fits that profile of a rare, undetectable poison, which lends a lot of weight to the idea that someone knowledgeable, maybe even professional, was involved.
And there was more from the forensics, wasn't there? Something about how he was positioned.
Yes, the lividity. That's the pooling of blood in the body after death due to gravity. The pattern observed on the Somerton Man, extensive pooling at the back of his head and along his sides, was really significant. It indicated his body had been lying flat on his back for a considerable time before being propped up against that seawall where he was found.
So he wasn't just sitting there when he died.
Yeah. Highly unlikely. That finding, combined with the unlit cigarette still resting on his collar, which likely would have fallen off if he had slumped there, naturally strongly suggested the body was actively posed. Someone moved him after death, arranged him against the seawall. This directly contradicts a simple natural death or an unassisted suicide. It points squarely towards foul play and a deliberate staging of the scene.
Wow. Okay, so the plot thickens even more. Then over a month passes.
Right. January 14th, 1949. A brown suitcase turns up. It was found at the Adelaide Railway Station cloakroom.
And it had been checked in when?
After 11:00 a.m. on November 30th, 1948. The same day the Somerton Lynx was last seen alive near Somerton Beach. And, surprise, surprise,
The label was removed.
meticulously removed, just like the clothing tag.
What was inside? Anything that helped?
Well, a mix of things, some quite ordinary. Red check dressing gown, red felt slippers, size 7, underwear, pajamas, shaving gear. Light brown trousers that interestingly had sand in the cuffs, suggesting maybe he had been on a beach recently. But also some less ordinary items. An electrician's screwdriver, a table knife that had been cut down into a short, sharp tool, scissors with sharpened points, and a little square of zinc, maybe used as a sheath for the knife and scissors.
Tools. That suggests something practical, maybe technical. An electrician's screwdriver that stands out now, knowing what we know later.
It does, but the really crucial link, the absolute clincher connecting the suitcase to the man, was something tiny.
The thread.
The thread, a thread card of Barbara brand orange wax thread. Investigators noted it was an unusual type and, importantly, not sold in Australia at that time.
And they found the same thread on him.
Identical thread was used to repair the lining in a pocket of the trousers the Somerton Man was wearing. That tiny detail, that specific unusual thread, was the definitive link. It proved the suitcase belonged to him. It was the smoking gun.
A tiny thread becomes the key. Amazing. So ownership confirmed. But did the contents help identify him?
That's where it gets contradictory and, frankly, baffling. Remember how all the tags were removed from the clothes he was wearing?
Yeah, meticulous removal.
Well, inside the suitcase, things were different. The name T. Keene was found on a tie. Keene was on a laundry bag. And Keene's slightly different spelling was on a singlet. Plus, there were branded items, a Paleco shirt, Marco trousers, things that potentially could be traced.
So wait, if the goal was total anonymity, why leave those names? T. Keene.
Exactly. It makes no sense if the plan was perfect concealment. Police at the time wondered if it was just a major oversight, or maybe it was deliberate misdirection, planting a false name to send them chasing ghosts.
The American tailoring on the coat and the suitcase also hints at travel, doesn't it? Maybe he got it overseas.
It certainly adds to that possibility. International connections, travel. It opens up more questions about his movements before ending up in Adelaide.
And tragically, we can't even look at that stuff now, can we?
No. In what seems like an incredibly short-sighted decision now, the suitcase and all its contents were destroyed in 1986, classified as no longer required.
Unbelievable. All that potential evidence, gone. Modern forensics could have done so much with that. Fibers, DNA traces on the clothes, a closer look at those Keene labels.
It's a huge loss for the investigation, a real point of frustration for everyone who's looked into this case since.
Okay, so let's move forward to July 1949, 7 months after the body was found. The Tamám Shud slip finally gets identified.
Right. It's confirmed as the last page, torn from a specific 1859 translation of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam by Edward Fitzgerald.
So they put out a public appeal looking for this specific edition with the last page missing.
And someone comes forward. A man using the pseudonym Ronald Francis, his real name kept confidential. He hands in a 1941 edition of the book.
And his story is
Very. He claimed he found it in the back of his open-topped car, which he parked near Jetty Road in Glenelg, very close to Somerton Beach, back around November 30th, 1948. He said he didn't think much of it until he saw a newspaper article about the case much later.
And this book was the one?
Microscopic tests confirmed it. The paper fibers, the indentations, the Tamám Shud slip found on the Somerton Man was definitely torn from this exact book.
So this vital piece of evidence just was 7 months late, found in an unlocked car near the scene, handed in by an anonymous man. It sounds, well, almost too convenient, doesn't it?
It raises immediate questions about Ronald Francis. Was he just an innocent guy who stumbled upon it? Or was he involved somehow? Maybe delivering a message, maybe part of the staging. The delay is highly suspicious.
And the book itself, the Rubaiyat, its themes are about living life, the finality of death. Did that influence theories?
Initially, yes. It fueled the suicide theory. The idea that Tamám Shud, the end, was his final poetic statement. But Detective Brown, one of the lead investigators, later dismissed that. He didn't think the book's theme was directly relevant to the cause of death, but the phrase itself, Tamám Shud. So many interpretations: suicide note, killer's message signifying job done, maybe even spy code for mission accomplished. That ambiguity is central to the whole mystery.
And if that wasn't enough, the book held another secret, the code.
Ah yes, the code. Found is faint indentations, pencil markings on the inside back cover of that Rubaiyat. 5 lines of capital letters.
Can you read it out? It's so strange.
It is. It reads WRGOABABD. Then a line break, looks like maybe a tilde mark, MLIAOI. Another break, WTBIABAEP. Then an X mark, MLIABO. Another break, AIAQC. And the last line, ITTMTSAMSTGAB.
And that second line, MLAOI, was struck through. And there's an X above the last O in MLAABO.
Correct. Those details, the strike through, the X, are crucial for cryptographers. They suggest it wasn't just random scribbling, maybe a correction, a nullifier, a specific part of the cipher system.
This code, it's become legendary, hasn't it? The ultimate puzzle for amateur sleuths. What have the experts made of it over the years?
Frustration, mostly. What's fascinating is how resistant it's been to decryption. Professional intelligence agencies, including Australian defense cryptographers in the 70s, looked at it. They basically concluded it was too short. Insufficient symbols to extract clear meaning using standard code-breaking techniques. They even threw out the possibility it was just meaningless, maybe the product of a disturbed mind.
But people haven't given up, have they?
Not at all. Later theories lean towards it being maybe an acrostic or initialism, each letter standing for a word. like Jerry Feltus, the retired detective who wrote a book on the case. He speculated that the last line, ITTMTSMSD might mean it's time to move to South Australia, Mosley Street.
Mosley Street. That connects to.
Exactly. It points directly to the next key figure. Others, like Professor Derek Abbott's team, analyzed the letter frequencies and suggested it was likely the first letters of English words, maybe a personal shorthand or mnemonic. Not necessarily a complex spy cipher, but something meaningful only to the writer.
But still uncracked, still a mystery within the mystery.
Precisely. Its resistance fuels the speculation. Was it a spy code after all? A lover's secret message? Or just something personal we'll never understand? The struck out line and the X just add layers to that puzzle.
Okay, so that brings us to the woman on Mosley Street. The Rubaiyat didn't just have the code, did it? It had a phone number.
A faint, handwritten phone number, X3239, found on the back cover. And this is the first lead that connected the dead man, however tenuously, to a living person. It led police to a nurse named Jo Thompson living on Mosley Street in Glen Elk, which remarkably was only about 400 meters, a short walk from where the Somerton Man's body was found.
Her real name was Jessica Harkness, later Jessica Thompson, but she became known publicly by the pseudonym Justin, mainly to protect her privacy. What happened when police talked to her?
Well, she denied everything. She said she didn't know the dead man, had no idea why her number would be in his book. She did mention giving a copy of the Rubaiyat to someone else, an Army lieutenant named Alf Boxall.
We'll come back to Boxall. But Justin also mentioned something else, didn't she? About someone trying to visit her.
Yes, she reported that late in 1948, an unidentified man had come to her street asking her next-door neighbor about her. Adds another layer of intrigue.
But Detective Feltus, who interviewed her much later, in 2002, felt she was holding back.
He found her very evasive, yes. Unwilling to really talk about it. He became convinced she did know who the Somerton Man was.
Yeah.
And crucially, her own daughter, Kate Thompson, confirmed this years later in a 2014 TV interview. She stated quite clearly her mother knew the man.
And her reaction when she was shown the plaster cast bust of the man, that was telling, wasn't it?
Extremely telling. Detective Sergeant Lean, who was there, described her as being completely taken aback, said she looked like she was about to faint.
Paul Lawson, the technician who made the cast, was also there. He noted she glanced at it, immediately looked away, and refused to look again, despite verbally denying she knew him.
That's a profound involuntary reaction, isn't it? It completely contradicts her words. For investigators, that was a huge signal. She didn't just know him. The sight of him, even as a cast, deeply affected her.
So why deny it? Fear. Scandal.
Very likely. Think about the era, late 1940s Australia. Social conventions were strict. If she had a secret relationship, perhaps an affair, the potential scandal would have been immense. Her subsequent request for her name to be kept out of it, which the police agreed to, strongly implies she had a deep secret she desperately wanted to protect.
But that decision by the police, while maybe understandable then, really hampered things later, didn't it?
Significantly. It meant they couldn't publicly pressure her, couldn't follow that lead as aggressively, and it meant later researchers couldn't access the full details of her original police interview. It essentially locked away potentially vital information for decades, leaving huge gaps for speculation to fill.
Now, about that Alf Boxall connection she mentioned, the Army lieutenant she gave a Rubaiyat to in 1945.
Right. Police tracked him down in Sydney in July 1949. He was alive and well, and he still had his copy of the Rubaiyat. Crucially, it was intact. The Tamám Shud page was still there. So he wasn't the Somerton Man.
Did his book have anything interesting in it?
Justin had inscribed it to him, signing it Justin, which is where that pseudonym partly came from, and she'd written out for 70. Just a personal touch. Boxall had served in a special operations unit during the war, the North Australia Observer Unit, which briefly sparked interest in a possible intelligence link when police questioned him about it. But he dismissed it as quite a melodramatic thesis. So that potential spy angle seemed to fizzle out quickly, at least regarding Boxall directly.
So, for decades, you have this collection of incredibly strange clues, but no answers. No identity, no cause of death, this weird code, an evasive woman. It's just perfect fodder for theories, especially once the internet gets going.
Absolutely. It became one of the great internet mysteries. Reddit threads exploded, YouTube channels dedicated entire series to it, amateur cryptographers kept plugging away at the code, genealogists got involved. It became this global collaborative investigation run by the public.
Let's talk about some of those big theories that took hold online. The Cold War spy theory seems like one of the most popular.
Definitely, it fits so many pieces, at least superficially. The timing, 1948, the dawn of the Cold War, the meticulous identity removal, classic spy tradecraft, right? The foreign thread, the American coat suggesting travel. The untraceable poison sounds like something from an intelligence agency playbook.
And Adelaide's location, near the Woomera missile range.
Exactly. Woomera was a top-secret site for UK-Australian missile testing. Perfect backdrop for espionage. There were even unconfirmed rumors later about microwriting being found on his possessions. It all paints a very compelling cloak and dagger picture that really captured the imagination on forums like Reddit.
But there are holes in it, aren't there? Like the keen labels left in the suitcase.
That's the big inconsistency. If it was a professional spy operation focused on total anonymity, why leave those labels? It suggests either incompetence, or maybe it wasn't a spy thing at all, or perhaps it was deliberate misdirection. It complicates the neat spy narrative.
Then there's the code itself, the cryptographic obsession.
Yes, the code became its own mini-industry online.
Yeah.
Years and years of people trying to crack it on Reddit, on dedicated cipher forums. Was it a one-time pad? Some kind of military cipher they hadn't identified? A personal shorthand?
Everyone wants to be the one to solve it, don't they? It's the ultimate intellectual challenge embedded in the mystery.
It really is. The allure of unlocking that secret after intelligence agencies failed. It's powerful. It speaks to that human need to find patterns, to solve puzzles, even 70 years later.
Contrasting with the spy stuff is the romantic tragedy theory. More personal, more human.
And very compelling, especially considering Justin. The core idea is this is a story of lost love, maybe a secret affair gone tragically wrong.
The evidence being
Justin's evasiveness, her powerful reaction to the bust, her daughter confirming she knew him, and her home being so close to where he was found, plus the interpretation of Tamám Shud as meaning heartbreak, the end of a relationship. It feels very grounded in human emotion.
And this theory got a massive boost recently, didn't it? With the work connecting him to Justin's son.
A huge boost. Professor Derek Abbott's work, looking at photographs and later potential genetic links, highlighted striking physical similarities between the Somerton Man and Justin's son, Robin Thompson. Specifically, rare ear features the shape of the Simba versus the covum, and a rare dental condition called hypodontia, missing lateral incisors. Abbott calculated the odds of these specific, rare, inheritable traits appearing together by chance as incredibly low, somewhere between 1 in 10 million and 1 in 20 million.
Wow. That strongly suggests.
It strongly suggested Robin Thompson was the Somerton Man's biological son, which, if true, deepens that tragic narrative immensely. It points to a definite, deeply personal connection between Justin and the man, likely a secret relationship with devastating consequences.
Which brings us right up to the biggest development in decades. The DNA identification.
Yes. In 2022, after years of campaigning and meticulous scientific work, Professor Derek Abbott, working closely with renowned American forensic genealogist Colleen Fitzpatrick, announced a breakthrough. Using DNA extracted from hairs found trapped in the original plaster bust of the Somerton Man, they performed forensic genealogy, comparing the DNA profile against genealogical databases.
And they found a match. They identified him.
They did. They identified the Somerton Man as Charles Webb.
Carl Webb. Who was he?
According to their research, he was born in Footscray, a suburb of Melbourne, in 1905. He was an electrical engineer and instrument maker. He had apparently separated from his wife Dorothy and disappeared sometime around 1947. Intriguingly, no one had ever filed a missing persons report for him.
So after 70 plus years, the name.
Yeah.
Carl Webb. This felt like the moment the case was finally solved. But was it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Does getting a name truly solve the mystery? Online, especially on Reddit, the debate continues. On one hand, it's monumental. We know he was. On the other hand, we still don't have an official cause of death confirmed by police. We don't have a definite motive explaining why Carl Webb, an engineer from Melbourne, ended up dead on Somerton Beach. And while the genetic link between Webb, as the Somerton Man, and Robin Thompson seems incredibly strong based on Abbott and Fitzpatrick's work, there's still no official police confirmation of that link or the nature of Webb's relationship with Jessica Thompson.
So the skeptical takes online aren't dismissing the IV, but saying it doesn't answer everything.
Exactly. They remind us that a name is just one piece, albeit a huge one. It doesn't automatically explain the why or the how. It shifts the focus, opens new avenues, but doesn't necessarily provide closure on the core enigma of his death.
So, Carl Webb, an electrical engineer, instrument maker. How does knowing this change things? And what remains stubbornly unknown?
It changes the focus dramatically. We're no longer asking, who was this ghost? We're asking, what happened to Carl Webb? We can now look at his life, his profession, his relationships for clues. Was his engineering background relevant? Did it give him skills or knowledge that put him in danger, maybe feeding back into those spy series in a new way? Did his separation from his wife lead to personal despair, linking back to the tragedy angle?
It gives investigators and amateur sleuths concrete details to pursue.
Absolutely. But it doesn't change the fundamental mystery of his death. We still lack that official cause. Was it poison, like digitalis? Was it something else entirely that mimics poisoning? Was it suicide, despite the posed body? Was it murder? That core question remains unanswered by the identification alone.
And that lack of a definitive cause of death, that's what keeps all the theories alive, isn't it?
Precisely. Because the forensic science at the time couldn't pinpoint it, and the body itself presented contradictions, it leaves the door open for almost any interpretation. Murder, sophisticated suicide, even some bizarre, unknown medical event. They all remain technically possible, allowing speculation to thrive. It feels almost perfectly designed to evade easy answers.
So when you weigh it up now, spy versus personal tragedy, where does the balance lie with the Webb identification?
It's still complex. The spy theories remain plausible, maybe even slightly enhanced if Webb's engineering skills were somehow relevant to Cold War technology or intelligence gathering. But the Keen labels and the lack of any known intelligence background for Webb still pose problems for a clean spy narrative. On the other hand, the personal tragedy theory feels significantly strengthened by the likely DNA connection to Justin's son. It provides a powerful human motive for secrecy, despair, and potentially a tragic end, whether suicide, accident, or even a confrontation gone wrong related to the relationship.
Could it be both? A man with a secret personal life who also got caught up in something dangerous because of his skills?
That's always a possibility, isn't it? That the neat separation between theories is artificial. Maybe his personal life and his professional skills somehow intersected in a fatal way. Or perhaps, as Occam's razor might suggest, the simplest explanation, a tragic personal affair ending badly, is the most likely, especially with the genetic evidence. And the other clues, like the code, the poison, are red herrings or relate to aspects of his life we just don't understand yet.
It's fascinating how this case really highlights the role of the internet, doesn't it? Modern tech, collaborative communities.
Absolutely. This case is a prime example of how crowdsourced investigation and modern science can tackle mysteries that stumped traditional methods for decades. Reddit forums keeping the discussion alive, amateur genealogists digging through records, and scientists like Abbott and Fitzpatrick pioneering the use of forensic genealogy on graded samples. It shows the power of open-source investigation, shared knowledge, and persistent collective curiosity. It's really changed how cold cases can be approached.
So where does that leave us with the Somerton Man, Carl Webb? Does knowing his name solve it? Or does it just deepen the mystery surrounding his final days?
I think it does both. We know who he was, which is a monumental step. But the why and the exact how of his death on that beach with Tamám Shud in his pocket, that central enigma remains. It's finished in Persian, perhaps, but the story feels very much unfinished for us.
It ensures his place, doesn't it? As one of the world's most captivating, enduring cold cases, even with a name, the shadows remain.
Profoundly so. The case of Charles Webb, the Somerton Man, remains this intricate puzzle. The identification is huge, but the ultimate cause, the precise circumstances, still deeply mysterious. It keeps us guessing, questioning, searching.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the strange, sad, and enduring mystery of the Somerton Man. We hope it sparked your curiosity as much as it continues to spark ours. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Jump onto Reddit, TikTok, or Instagram and share your theories. Next time on Threads of Truth, we head to West Germany in 1984, where a man scrawled the letters YOYOGTZE before vanishing and turning up dead under mysterious circumstances. From secret messages to unsettling predictions, the YOYOGTZE case may be one of Europe's strangest unsolved puzzles.